This week's episode of RuPaul's Drag Race made me a little sad because some of the things that went down in the episode in regards to Ariete, and just like it kind of showcased what insecurity can do to you based on how you choose to react to it. This episode, the queens were given the challenge to do a roast of the villains. Ariete was not feeling very confident in the comedy challenges, and she was a little resentful with what happens in this episode, and she intentionally chooses to do something really mean-spirited to mess up a friend of hers game because she has kind of let her insecurity believe that she is like an enemy to her in regards to this challenge, which is really unfortunate. But then you have like someone like Lexi Love who has a lot of insecurity, but it's really endearing, honestly. She doesn't use her insecurity to blame other people, she doesn't use her insecurity against anyone. I think she recognizes she has insecurity, and she like took the notes from the judges this week, and I think she's gonna go forward and work on it. The queens were given the opportunity to roast the villains. They brought Candy Muse, Mistress Isabel Brooks, and Plain Jane. Honestly, I'd be terrified to roast any of these ladies because I respect them so much. Especially Candy Muse, I would be terrified to say anything negative against her. So Jules got the opportunity to assign the lineup, and she asked people like, where would you prefer to be in the lineup? And people told her. She took that into account, but ultimately she put herself behind Ariete. And the reason she gave was obviously she didn't want to be behind someone that was more confident in the challenge, and she knew Ariete was a little less confident. And honestly, I don't blame her for doing this. It is a game. There are a lot of very talented queens left in this competition who did very well in this challenge. I think Jules was just being very strategic, and I don't think she was trying to be mean-spirited about it. When she approached Ariete to kind of apologize, Ariete was just not really having it at all. It was just kind of shocking that Ariete, instead of just being like, well, that's a game, she decided to, hey, I'm just going to steal all of Jules' jokes, so when she goes behind me, she'll have no material. Just so mean-spirited, especially because they're friends. Like, they've been friends this whole competition, and I can't imagine. She perceived Jules as backstabbing her, but what she did to Jules Sparkles was actually like legit backstabbing. No hate to Ariete. We all do things when we are feeling like backed into a corner, I guess, but I just think this was all perceived in her head based on her insecurity, and it caused her to do something really hurtful and kind of mean when she didn't need to do that. Overall, Lydia did the best. She won the challenge. I really like Lydia's jokes. I thought she did great. I mean, so many people did great in this challenge, like Anya Nerve, Susie Toot did well, Sam Star did well. I mean, like a ton of people did really well in this challenge, but unfortunately for Jules, Ariete's stunt kind of messed her up, and they ended up being the bottom queens. So the lip sync happened. Ariete went home. Her goodbye message was a little mean-spirited. I don't know. I feel bad for Ariete because I think she just seemed really frustrated. Just kind of let that insecurity and frustration take over her in this episode. I mean, like, I've made a bunch of mistakes when I felt like really insecure, so I get it. It makes me sad because I don't think Jules did anything wrong in this episode. I think, you know, she just made the right decision for herself, and she tried to be very kind to Ariete and explain herself and apologize, but she just wasn't having it. So I don't know. It was just an interesting situation. So I think it's like a good lesson to like, don't let your insecurity make you act out in anger, because, you know, she just kept citing like karma's a bitch, but like, no, karma inevitably got her at the end, and she went home. So I'm looking forward to seeing who wins the season. I think Jules is a very talented queen. I really like her a lot. There are a lot of really cool people on this cast, and I would just be happy if any of them won at this point. And my love goes out to Ariete. I know this is hard, and especially when people make dumb decisions on like a reality TV show, and then people come at you with hate. I don't like, no hate to her at all. I just thought it was interesting how, you know, that we had two examples of kind of some insecurity in the show, and each person kind of went about it in a different way.